yeah, just starting off, I was older student here once, came in 2007. Started off, those of you who knows Mrs. Reagan's here, heard of her? Okay. Okay, that shows how old I am. So yeah, I was a student here, but a bit of background first. I was originally adopted from Romania when I was 2 years old, 1997, and also got a younger brother here. Who knows Colin here? Yeah? Good, not that old yet. Yes, I was adopted by German parents, and we came to New Zealand in 2006. And I guess in Equip, something that happened to me, we had a speaker that challenging us on to think of something, what difference do we want to make? And something that really struck home with me was international adoptions, because in Romania they've still got 70,000 kids in orphanages. And before Equip, years before that, I'd done some writing to the Romanian government, and they weren't really responsive apart from that. They got so annoyed when I was 9 years old. My mom got a phone call from the German Foreign Ministry that the Romanian president had complained about me, that I should stop writing letters to him. But then not too much happened, but then in Equip that whole passion got reignited for me, and I started writing letters again, and within a month a local Romanian newspaper published my story and how lucky I'd been in New Zealand and all the opportunities I'd been given, just like being here. And then at the end of the year, I got an invitation with others to speak at the Romanian Parliament. And it was so short notice, I only had 1 week to prepare. And apart from the public speaking and English we learn, nothing. But I was very lucky to receive help from the school with getting my public speaking on and speed it up. And also Mr. Wilmson decided to surprise me, to get one of his ex-students who was working for Campbell Life to interview me. So 3 days before leaving to Europe, Campbell Life turned up at our home and then interviewed us. That was my first ever interview, and then did a speech at the Parliament. I was quite nervous, given that I'd never spoken before publicly, even to a Parliament, and just noticed that the Parliament, the doors were like 6 meters tall for the meeting room, and they had a table that was like 11 meters wide. And everything, so it was pretty intimidating. And like in the big movies, they had the microphones that were electronic, which you pressed on and off button. But yeah, I just shared my story, and it was also really challenging, because that's when I heard a woman share being in an orphanage for 10 years, and she basically said it was as bad or equally bad as the concentration camps. So yeah, so that was that, and then I decided then I finished year 13, and I went to Auckland Uni, first thinking, I would be going into engineering, because I'd done all of the hard science subjects like calculus, especially if you're with Miss Hilton, he really pushes you, or Miss Kuch. But then after that, I felt the first year, things were going well, I decided, no, that wasn't the right thing for me anymore, but I would be better to do something politics related, so I decided to be doing international relations and psychology, which I'll be finishing this November. And I've been doing speeches, and also went back in 2015 to Romania, where I was surprised on national TV by my birth mom without them telling me about it. So it was really a shocking experience, but also really humbling. Because the first thing they asked me was, why was Alex given away? And she said, I didn't want him. And they kept asking questions to just get the ratings up the show, but then I said to the TV host, it's enough now. And I said, I've been really lucky to be in New Zealand, and while it might be sad that I was given away, you also need to look at the situation in Romania with the dictatorship they had under Ceausescu, where they forced women to have at least 5 kids. And then I said, because we've been forgiven, I said an altar, because I can forgive my birth family for giving me away, I think you as a country should do the same thing. And you should actually look at adopting out kids, if it's done right, is really good. I mean, you will have now somebody that's got 3 citizenships, Romanian, German, and of course Kiwi now as well. So you can be an ambassador for all your countries and build bridges instead of walls. But the biggest thing probably for me happened was at the beginning of this year when I was invited, friends encouraged me to apply for a fellowship in Switzerland called the Global Changemakers Fellowship, which is where they fly 60 young people to Switzerland to take part in a program where they learn about leadership and practical skills in advocacy and basically any kind of positive work, from human rights to technology to anything. And I was first really, should I apply? I mean, it's a really unique program. They normally get over 4,000 applicants. But friends encouraged me, and I said, okay, I'll give it a go, and we had to do a video. We did that, didn't think much of it, and then in March I get an email saying, we want to interview you. So I wrote them back, yep, happy, next morning, 5 o'clock. They interviewed me in New Zealand time. And I was a bit nervous because they were just asking me, what do you like as a person, what do you like doing? And I was really confused. Why don't you ask me, why I would be a suitable person for this program? And then at the end they said to me, don't worry, you've been selected already. So I was really happy and started crying because I knew what that would mean, that they'd fly me to Switzerland with 60 others from around the world, and that I would also get to meet people there, that I wanted to meet organizations that work in adoption. So after that I straight away wrote to all my contacts all over the world asking to have meetings in Europe. And then flew out in July, and the program was really amazing, meeting young people like myself, so even use of 18-year-old people. I think the story that really hit home for me was when I met somebody that was from Syria, who was a refugee in Europe, who shared with us that she'd lost in one day 28 of her family members in the Aleppo attacks, and it just really hit home and just made me realize how lucky we all are just here in New Zealand, but also how lucky I've been, and just that even if we, let's say, complain in New Zealand about public transport, that's nothing perspective, and we should just be grateful. And then after the forum, I spent some time with family in Germany, and I was meant to only have 3 meetings in Geneva. I was a bit down because I was meant to have some more meetings, but then I get a Facebook message from the Romanian ambassador on the weekend saying, do you want to catch up for coffee? The Romanian ambassador here wrote about you, we should really meet you. And so we ended up having coffee, talking about adoption, and then he says, I really want you to have you back in Switzerland, and I want to hold global talks now on adoptions the next time you can come back. And he said, while you're here, you should really also meet with the people from the Romanian people that work in the UN. And I said, that would be great, I'm tomorrow in Geneva anyway. He said, okay. So he orders his people in charge to make a few phone calls. Or I then also end up having lunch with the New Zealand ambassador to the UN. And they said, we want to help you, and also highlights to me, I noticed that I get to go to the World Economic Forum. It's a really fancy forum where they talk on economics, but also on how they can help people worldwide through basically social policy. And then the person I ended up meeting, she happens to work in Romania and Germany, and said, I want to help you all set up some talks with adopted people. And that was really moving. And then, coming back, the day I came back, the next day I was asked to be in the Romanian embassy here. And then I ran into a Romanian foundation, said, we want to help you guys, because I've also helped with friends. We founded a foundation that's called I'm Adopted, where we help people all over the world look for their families and promote adoptions. And in the just last 2 years, we helped over 200 people search for their families through Facebook. And our future project that we're working on is to have a big forum, the first one in Switzerland, to hold global talks on adoptions with everyone that we met there. And also what kind of I learned from that is, you guys being that you might be still really young, but you can make a difference. I just used to be like you guys. And still am, I think, you're still really young, but you're the kind that can make a change, no matter what it is, be it in the arts or be it in science. You're going to be able to make the change, and, it's really good that we have languages here at KingsWay because you have to work globally now. It's not isolated, but it's globally now. You have to work together, not apart. And also, just remember, even though you will be in situations where you'll be really challenged, remember that you've got somebody up there watching you, and he's in control. Like even when I was in uni, I was really disappointed I wouldn't get to have all the meetings I would have, but it ended up working all fine. Yeah, and if you have any questions, don't be shy, I don't bite. I might look scary.
I have a question, Alex.
Sure.
What's your plans for the future, going on from here?
My plans for the future is I want to work in international development, especially with children's rights and adoptions, and ultimately I'd like to set up my own kind of organization that does advising on children's rights and adoptions, that advises governments, non-profits, NGOs. And also, I might be doing some postgrad studies next year. That will depend in November, because I was lucky and KingsWay supported me with that I was nominated for a Rotary Peace Fellowship. So that might be in Australia or in the US. And it was also a really challenging experience. We nominated for that, so I only had basically just under 1 month to write all the applications and do an interview before my exams and before flying out and everything. And it was really challenging because normally you're 30 years old only if you just get nominated. Yeah, it was really humbling. Any other questions?
Yeah. Last time you spoke to us, you said you were writing a book. Where's that up to, and are we going to see it published?
So what I'm up to kind of like, I'm just writing up to getting friends that have, people that have influenced my life, writing with them, working with them, and also just been actually working on the last couple of days writing about my experience in Switzerland. And it was just writing that was just so emotional again, realizing how many meetings I was able to have and how God just really moved in such a short time that I was able to meet so many people that wanted to help me, because I didn't expect that many people to help me. So and the plan is somewhere towards the end of the year if everything goes well. And it's also been a challenge because I never thought I would be writing a book or anything, but it's just people challenged me last and said, oh, your story's so amazing and inspiring, we really want you to write something. So yeah, I started doing that last year. Yes?
Alex, identity is vital to a human being. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means for you? Identity, where do you get your identity from?
Yeah. So the question is basically, what is identity for me, that it's vital. I think the first thing that I kind of break down is identity. What is identity? And then there's kind of your physical, your identity you have as a person. And there's some misconception that like people say your identity is where you're born. But I think it's not only that, it's like who you're around with. And for me, that's been my family, my friends. And people that speak up against it often say that people get their identity taken away because they don't grow up in the birth country. Well, I didn't grow up in Romania, but I still got Romanian family, friends, and I'd been to Romanian cultural events, and my family told me about Romania, or I've kind of grown up with 3 cultures, learned about Romania from friends and family relatives, and Germany, having lived there for 9 years, and New Zealand now, actually coming up in 2 days, lived here for 11 years. So that's for me, but then there's also your spiritual identity, and that's for me, God for me, and being always there for me. But definitely also with adoption, there is a challenge that people feel that their identity might be, where they belong, but that's for any of us, even in your late 20s, your identity still develops, and that's definitely been for me, and being in Switzerland has solidified that for me, that I'm, actually proud to be adopted, and be a New Zealander, German, Romanian. But it's definitely not easy, and people need to be aware of it. But it's definitely also you shouldn't be shy away from it. And I think especially at such a young age, you shouldn't be afraid of who you are. You should also remember, that everyone has a unique story. And I really felt it when I did that application. I thought, my story is just, it's just nothing extraordinary. But I think if you look at all of your stories, you're all unique people, no matter what. How maybe you seem insignificant because you can inspire. So inspiring to anyone hearing us talking to people. They've got such a unique story to tell and something that we can learn from. Yeah, I hope that clarifies what I meant, yes? Any other questions? Yeah? Yeah?
What do you hope to change in adoption in Romania?
I think what I hope to change in adoption is to reopen international adoptions because they've been closed since 2003, and they've got 70,000 orphans still in orphanages. Yes?
Can we ask why they closed international
You meaning in Romania?
Yeah, why did they close the doors?
So I guess the official government reason is that it's basically, they say it's in the best interest of children, but I think from what I've learned from talking with people and being there, that it's just complicated politics, and Romania doesn't want to admit that they've still got a challenge with caring for the children, because no country wants to admit that being in New Zealand or anywhere else. And I think it's just convincing them that actually there are families, lots of families out there in New Zealand, everywhere, that actually want to adopt. I mean, even in New Zealand, approximately every fifth person in some way or form is affected by adoptions. Yeah, any other questions? Yep, sorry.
So I just really want to honour you for the work that you've done. And, I really see this as a story of victory over adversity. That you started from such difficult beginnings, but, I see God going before you at every step of the way. That He's set before you these challenges, but He's also arranged these meetings and opportunities for you to have your voice. So I just really want to honour you for the work that you put in, and also for God as being, leading your path. So I guess my question is, what can we do at KingsWay to help you, and what kind of things can we physically do to open the doors again for adoption policy?
Let me just, I think that's a really difficult question. What can Kings do to help with it? I think the big thing is maybe just spreading the message. Just sharing your stories. How you felt. You've known people that have affected adoptions. And I guess that's the big thing to pray as well, of course. But I think the biggest thing is what I've learned is actually somebody from the outer just telling a country what to do. Most people or countries don't take that one. So I think it's just basically just encouraging those in charge to make a difference, not to affect them either. Yeah, I think it's really hard because it is a long process, and even though I know people that work in it as well, I would say at least for Romania to reopen adoption, it takes at least another 10 years. It's so complicated, and because just reopening adoption doesn't mean you have to re-put in the whole systems to reopen adoption. You need to get the agencies opened up again, or the people working in it, teach the people the processes, employ people. So it will take a really long time to reopen adoption. But I think just talking about the issue at first is a good point to start. And you all being here, it's a great testament of what an interest is already in this. I guess something that practical is interesting, actually, the non-profit that I've helped to found, we're having a big conference next year. We're planning with a big conference in July next year. So, to spread the word with that, we'll be sharing about that soon coming up. We're planning that at the moment. Because, we're just trying to start, with New Zealand, because I think something that I learned being overseas is we might think, we're such a small country, but if you go somewhere, where you think, nobody knows you, that actually is an advantage for us. Because we hadn't had too much controversy as a country, and we've got quite a lot of what they call soft power that we're able to influence so people will listen to us because we're such a young and unique country. Any other questions?
And then Alex, you also have a Facebook page, is that correct?
Yeah,
I'm
I've got-
Adopted?
Yeah,
Would
we've
you like
got,
to
yeah.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, do you mean the I'm Adopted page?
Yes.
Yeah, so I've helped, with friends created called I'm Adopted, which was I talked about early on, where we support people finding their families and provide them with support. And we've actually also at the beginning of the year, we were invited to speak in Parliament. It was really a crazy experience because we'd worked already for 2 years, but we had just only started in January to register as an official charity. So that was also a really challenging experience going through all the paperwork for that. And we were lucky to help us that. And what we've had and what we're planning on having more in the future is for things called meetups, where people get to share where people where adopted people get, or people that want to know about adoption just casually hang out for a picnic or something at the beach. We've done that last year and going to start that again this summer. And also want to just plan on having more conferences in the future.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex, for coming.